There we go. There we go, people. Today, I always seem to be cutting off part of my head. Can never get that right. There we go. Is that right? That's good. It's good enough. Today, we're going to talk about peace. Apparently, there's a lot of people who just, I guess, don't. This is bothering me though. I'll just hold it. If I hold it. There we go. All right, that's better. Yes. Apparently, there's a lot of people who just don't have peace. They're riddled with anxiety, varying degrees, I guess, of anxiety, and people try all kinds of things like meditation and calm apps, therapy, drinking, weed, all kinds of stuff, and that stuff works to a degree. But we were talking about it today at work, and I was asked about my levels of peace, and I would say, relatively speaking, that my peace levels are pretty good. Pretty good. Now, that doesn't mean I don't have tons of problems like everybody else. I certainly do. Doesn't mean I don't have my moments of anger. I certainly do. Today, let me tell y'all. This typical white people in power. Now, I don't mean that in a bad way. Yeah, I do, but not. But I know that. How do I put this? I feel like there's always different levels of like a privilege bubble, right? So it's not just a white people thing. It's different levels. Like I could use the same thing with Americans, right? I'm American. Us as Americans, certain things that we just take for granted. There are things that we're not really aware of, like we should be, just for being American. And it is what it is, right? There's certain privileges you have, and it's not to make someone feel bad about it, but it's just, you're in a certain bubble, and because you're in that bubble, there's certain things you're just not aware of within yourself, within your world, And with this particular bubble, it's the white person in power bubble that is don't. And there's in this particular scenario, I'm not going to stay long here because it's not what I want to talk about. In this particular scenario, you have a white man in power, and white man in power, and he is in charge of a bunch of minorities, like a bunch, and like the optics of that are already bad. And then you add to that a bunch of rules. White people in power love their rules, right? And there's certain rules that make sense and other rules that they don't. You wonder why they even made them. And like there's certain rules that are just petty when it comes to like work, places of work, even laws and stuff. I'm speaking, I know, really generally, but one day I'll write a book about this place. But hopefully you can relate. Like there's that white person in power that they probably don't see themselves this way, and that's the problem, the privilege. But they're really petty about their rules, cracking the whip, and they don't realize how they look. They look really like there's this person I'm talking about, bossing around all these minorities, and they don't know that they're coming across like such a jerk. But that's not even what I want to talk about. The point of me telling that whole thing is that pushed me. All right, it pushed. I don't want you to think that I have like no. People who know me know I've got some issues, some problems, like everybody else, right? So that's not. It's not that I'm so removed from problems that I have peace. That's not even real peace, I don't think. Unless your peace is tested, it's not real pease. Right? So I've got all kinds of issues. There's this particular person. I didn't choke to death, and I consider that a win for both of us, because this person was being really obnoxious and abusing their power to a degree. But I don't even want to talk about that. That's a whole tangent. Welcome to Praphit Plus, right? I'm a man of rambling. But anyway, back to peace and the pursuit of it. You try all the different stuff. You try all the meditation. You try smoking marijuana. You can try therapy and all the kind of things. Those things will have some success, but there are two things I think people miss out on when it comes to trying to find peace in your mental health. There's two things that people miss out on that, without being thoughtful of these two things, they're just not going to get the peace they're looking for. And the number one, I think, this is my opinion, number one is your career. We spend so much time, with our careers. And I think if you're in an environment where the stress of the situation overwhelms like the amount of control you have over that stress, then it's a problem. I think that people sometimes pick careers that are inherently stressful. Maybe they weren't meant for those particular jobs, or they keep taking on more and more workload, and it's wrecking their peace. And people will roll their eyes when I say stuff like that, because you've got to, in some ways, choose one. There's certain careers, like the President of the United States, for example. I don't know why anyone would want that job. It's horrible. No matter what you do or say, it's wrong. But it's a job that's needed, right? So a person who takes that job really has to be the right type of, for them not to lose their peace. You have to have the right wiring, be able to handle certain aspects of the job without it really bothering you. For example, me, I can spend all day and night in the studio making music. Won't bother me at all. And that's a long work day. Other people, they need more breaks. I like getting in there. I spend some time writing and not be stressed at all. Not the same for other people, right? So it depends. But a time might come when you have to choose whether to continue on your career path or choose peace. You might not be able to have both. You might have to, there's always a price to pay, Whenever you're faced with an ultimatum, people don't like that, but that's just life. You don't get everything, right? So if you want peace, you might have to take a look at your job, your career. Is there another title? Not title. Is there another like function you can take on? Do you have some sort of power over your situation where you can kind of balance things out so you can have some peace? If not, you might have to choose a different profession. I know that's crazy, right? Because you work so hard to get to where you are, and it kind of sucks when you think about it. You work that hard, you get to that point, and like you can't have peace there because of whatever you chose. And but that's why so many people in this life don't have peace. A lot of them have chosen their careers, they've chosen money, the pursuit of money, the pursuit of some sort of unattainable status quo, and it's robbed them of peace. It's going to continue to rob them of peace, and they have to choose one or the other. The other thing, I said there are two things. So one is career. You have to take a good look at your career, and do you have a job that's just too much stress for you? Then there might be things that you can do with your job, but if you can't, you got to make a choice. You want peace or you want your profession. And I know that seems like crazy advice, but it's a price for peace. The second thing is your family, your home life. Your home should be a sanctuary. If for whatever reason your home ceases to become a sanctuary, ceases to be a sanctuary, well, that's a lot of hours. All the hours you're spending work that's stressing you out, all the hours you're spending at home stressing you out. Poor decisions, man. Poor decisions about your career, poor decisions about the people you hang out with, poor decisions about who you decide maybe to marry or live with, kids. And that's what it comes down to. And I know that seems hard because you might be saying to yourself, well, I feel like I'm kind of stuck with this job, or I'm stuck in this marriage, or I'm stuck, you know what I'm saying, these kids. But again, that's why so many people don't have peace. The decisions that they've made. Now the hope is, and there's hope, if you're stuck if you feel stuck in all those situations, you have to try to find a way to regain power of the situation. All right, that's the only reason why you're so stressed, you have lack of peace, and why all the things like the meditation, the calm apps and all aren't helping as much as you'd like them to help, because you've lost control. So you have to see, to what degree do I have control over my work life? Perhaps it's the hours you're working. Perhaps it's your the actual environment that you're working in. Maybe you need to switch to a different department. Perhaps it's the allowing people to have power over you, like emotional power over you. You know what I'm saying? Perhaps it's the way you view yourself. It could be a lot of different things at work. Or again, like I said, you might just need to find another job. Perhaps you've spent too much time in that particular work environment, that particular career. You need to make a change if you truly want peace. But peace is hard to... I look at the pursuit of peace like this. All right, it's like you're in a pool, and you're trying to find that perfect spot in the pool, where it's like the perfect level of the water, where it's perfect level of coolness. You don't want to be cold, but you want to find like a little bit of that sweet spot where you're not too cold. You know, where you can just kind of sit back and be like, ah. Problem is, someone keeps peeing in the pool, right? So like, you know that there's pee coming your way. So you're like, oh no, there's pee. And so you got to kind of swim. You swim. All right, now I found another spot. That's nice. Oh, someone peed in the pool again. Let me go swim in another spot. And like, you want to find that spot where there will be no pee. But I don't know if you ever find that spot in this life. You know, that might be the afterlife where there's no peeing in the pool. But for this life, it's always a pursuit, man. So I don't want you to think, I say that because I don't want you to think that you need to separate yourself from everything and just kind of be in your cocoon of peace. That's not what I'm saying. Perhaps to find that level of peace, you might need to separate for a bit, but there's going to be more pee, right? There's going to be more problems. If you leave your job and go to a different job, there's going to be something else waiting for you there. But perhaps you can find the strength to hold on to the peace when you move to this other spot. Sometimes you're just in the wrong job. You're in the wrong place in the season of life you're in. And you're not going to be able to find peace there. You move to a different spot. You have peace. You still have to fight for that peace every day. You know, that's the real peace. To be able to have that peace tested and have those external influences not impact you. But you might not be able to do that in that particular environment. You might not be able to do that with that particular person. You just might not be on the same level. So you really have to think these things through. The career you want, the job you have, the people you surround yourself with, your family life. You should be able to have some level of control with your home life, I would hope. But try to find whatever level of control you need to reclaim to balance out your life. Man, I could spend more time. I'm running out of time here talking about this, but rooting for y'all. Hope you can find that level. I've rambled a lot, so let me summarize and I'll go. If you really need to think these things through more, but then it wouldn't be this, right? It wouldn't be me if I thought things through. Gotta have the rambling. Know that your lack of peace, there's hope. And the hope is that you can regain enough control to find peace. Depends on what you want to do with that control. All right. There's people who are just constantly stressed out in their jobs and their families, the rest of their lives. They're trying everything, it's not working because they're not utilizing their control properly, or they don't believe that they have any control. And that's a lie. You do. You just might not want to make those hard decisions, like changing a different environment or breaking away from a particular person. All right. You get all that stuff aligned, and you find that peace. Then when the pee comes, it's just you don't lose your peace as you're swimming away. Or maybe you can get to the point where you're surrounded by pee and it doesn't even matter. You're just like, I'm still at peace. You know what I'm saying? So regardless, I threw a lot at you. But I'm rooting for y'all. Like I said, don't give up. Get your career life together. Really think through your career, whether it's worth the stress. Really think through your family life, your home life. Do I need to change something? Are these relationships, is this situation I'm in worth the stress? And if it is worth the stress, how can I use my control, my power to balance things out so I can have my peace and not let go? Cool. Here we go.